The energy inside Hellas Hall this week feels different, heavier, sharper, and unmistakably focused. Chicago Bears players know exactly what this week means. Fans know it too. When the schedule brings the Packers to Soldier Field, it's not just another game. It's not just Week 14. It's personal, deeply personal, because this rivalry has shaped careers, broken seasons, and rewritten legacies for generations. And this time, the stakes are even higher. The Bears enter the week with momentum, confidence, and finally a roster that looks complete. But everything becomes more intense when Green Bay is on the other side. The Packers arrive dealing with their own problems, multiple injuries stacking up, inconsistency at key positions, and the pressure of proving they're still the dominant team in the division. For the first time in a long time, Chicago enters this showdown with both opportunity and expectation. Inside the Bears facility, the conversations have shifted. Coaches aren't just preparing game plans, they're issuing challenges. Players aren't just studying tape, they're sharpening attitudes. And most importantly, the Bears' biggest stars are stepping into leadership roles in ways that change the tone of this week entirely. One storyline that immediately grabbed attention came from Micah Parsons, who found himself in the middle of the growing tension between both teams. He fired back after recent comments from Chicago's side, escalating the rivalry. Parsons has never been shy about speaking with confidence, and this week was no different. His remarks instantly became bulletin board material inside the Bears' locker room. But Chicago didn't react emotionally. They reacted with focus. That's what makes this week so fascinating. The Bears aren't just talented, they're mentally locked in. At the center of the chaos stands Caleb Williams, who continues to evolve from a promising rookie into the unquestioned face of the franchise. From decision-making to pocket movement to leadership, Williams is changing the entire dynamic of the team. Several players mentioned this week that Caleb's voice in the huddle sounds different now. Not louder but calmer, more controlled, more confident. That kind of growth doesn't just help the offense, it inspires the entire roster. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, Nan Wright delivered one of the best storylines of the season. After receiving a major award from the NFL, Wright's emotional reaction turned into a powerful message inside the Bears organization. Coaches praised his consistency, his effort, and the example he sets for younger players. There's now a growing push inside the building to make sure Wright is re-signed and secured long-term. Stories like his are rare, and they matter deeply during rivalry week. The Bears also continued a strong run of impressive statistical performances, including a defensive metric that caught the attention of analysts across the league. Chicago's ability to force turnovers, disrupt passing lanes, and control the middle of the field has become a defining trait, and this week, that strength becomes even more important. But rivalry week isn't just about stars. It's also about details. And that brings us to Coordinator Thursday, a day that adds even more storylines to the mix. When the Bears coordinators spoke, each one delivered a message that shaped the team's mindset heading into the weekend. Declan Doyle talked about offensive execution and the need to finish drives, especially against a Packers defense that loves to disguise pressure. Dennis Allen emphasized discipline and communication on the defensive side, knowing Green Bay will try to exploit mismatches and tempo. Richard Hightower reminded everyone that special teams could be the difference, and in rivalry games, that's often true. If there was ever a week where the Bears needed every voice, every lesson, and every inch of preparation, it's this one. Because on Sunday, everything changes. The biggest storyline heading into Sunday isn't just the rivalry, it's the injuries. Chicago enters this matchup getting exactly the kind of news you want in December. 2 key starters officially returning. With depth already improving and chemistry building, having reinforcements at this stage is enormous. The Bears expect these players to step in immediately, elevating weak spots that Green Bay has tried to exploit in past meetings. On the flip side, the Packers are facing a far more difficult situation. Green Bay is now projected to be without 3 major starters, a devastating blow this late in the year. While the Packers haven't officially ruled everyone out, reports indicate it's highly likely those core players won't suit up. That instantly shifts momentum toward Chicago, giving the Bears potential advantages in protection, run control, and matchups on the outside. But even with those injuries, there's one thing Chicago cannot do: assume this game will come easy. Packers-Bears games never do. The history of this rivalry is full of moments where the underdog disrupts everything. So Matt Eberflus and his staff have emphasized one message all week long: respect the rivalry. Respect the opponent. Play your game. Behind closed doors, though, the Bears see opportunity, and they should. With key defensive players returning, Chicago can now field the version of their defense they envisioned at the start of the year. The unit looks faster, healthier, and far more aggressive than it did earlier in the season. Young players are stepping up. Veterans are communicating better. And the team as a whole is beginning to trust the system. On offense, Caleb Williams continues to show growth that excites coaches. They speak openly about his film habits improving, his accuracy tightening, and his understanding of pressure packages reaching new levels. The Bears' offensive staff is especially focused on avoiding early game mistakes this week. If Caleb can settle into rhythm early and if Chicago establishes pace, the Packers' injury-affected defense could find itself overwhelmed quickly. But one of the biggest surprises this week came from a remarkable team stat the Bears posted, creating national headlines. Analysts and former players praised Chicago's improvement, calling it one of the strongest mid-season turnarounds of the year. That kind of recognition turns into confidence, and confidence turns into performance. As rivalry week intensifies, so does fan energy. That's why we need to take a quick moment for something extremely important. If you love daily Chicago Bears updates, in-depth analysis, breaking news, speeches from players, injury breakdowns, and smart film room content, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment, especially during rivalry week when huge updates drop fast. Your support keeps the content flowing, keeps the analysis sharp, and keeps this community growing. Now let's get back to the biggest Bears-Packers storyline of the season. As we shift back into storylines, one major talking point comes from Chicago's special teams unit. Richard Hightower emphasized discipline on returns and coverage, areas where one mistake can instantly swing momentum in rivalry games. Another focus is tackling fundamentals. Missed tackles have cost both teams in previous matchups, and with Green Bay forced to lean on backups due to injuries, solid tackling becomes even more crucial. Then there's the pass rush. With the Packers missing important starters, Chicago's front seven has a realistic chance to dominate early. Expect the Bears to be extremely aggressive on passing downs, sending disguised pressure and attacking the gaps Green Bay's backups struggle with. If the Bears can control tempo, capitalize on mismatches, and avoid penalties, the momentum of this entire rivalry could shift in Chicago's favor. Everything this week has built toward one moment: Sunday at Soldier Field. The Bears don't just want to win, they want to send a message. A message that this rivalry is no longer one-sided. A message that Chicago is no longer rebuilding. A message that the Bears' young core is ready to change the story of this franchise. Caleb Williams has a chance to make the biggest statement of his rookie season. A dominant performance here wouldn't just give the Bears a win, it would give him legitimacy across the league. Rivalry games shape quarterbacks. They define them. And Williams is stepping into that defining moment. But he won't be alone. Nan Wright's presence adds leadership and emotional momentum. Defensive stars return hungry. Coaches enter the game with clarity and confidence. And for the first time in years, Chicago seems to have the perfect blend of talent, motivation, and timing. Still, it's important to be realistic. Rivalry games are chaotic. They're unpredictable. They're emotional. One play can flip the entire script. One mistake can destroy momentum. That's why the Bears' biggest challenge this week isn't the Packers, it's discipline. If Chicago plays their brand of football, smart, tough, physical, they win this game. If they get caught in the emotion, they leave themselves vulnerable. The final factor to watch is coaching decisions. The Bears staff has been increasingly aggressive in recent weeks, both on offense and defense. Expect more of that on Sunday. Expect Chicago to trust Caleb in big moments. Expect the defense to force Green Bay into uncomfortable situations. Expect the team to lean into their strengths: speed, physicality, and confidence. This matchup is more than just another chapter in the rivalry. It's a turning point. A win here could shift how national media views the Bears. It could shift how the division views them. It could shift how future free agents view the organization. And most importantly, it could signal that the Bears are finally ready to begin a new era defined by winning. Caleb Williams leading the offense. Nan Wright anchoring the defense. Rising stars stepping into the spotlight. Coordinators building a unified vision. Injured players returning at the perfect time. Opponents weakened by their own setbacks. Everything, absolutely everything, is lining up for Chicago. Now it's time to deliver. Sunday at Soldier Field will be emotional, loud, unpredictable, and unforgettable. The kind of game fans talk about for years. The kind of game that defines seasons. The kind of game that changes rivalries. The Chicago Bears have waited a long time for a moment like this. Now, it's here.